Hello, I'm Mark Anderson, roving editor for American Free Press, and my assistant Angie is showing you some of the only memorial we know of dedicated to those who lost their lives 20 years ago at the Waco, Texas Branch Davidian siege carried out by federal agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now, no official memorials were ever erected in the city of Waco, as officials there are dilly-dallying and trying to flush this down the proverbial memory hole. The Tribune Herald, the Waco newspaper, to its credit, does have a small exhibit with a diorama of the former Mount Carmel compound, the compound attacked 20 years ago by those federal agencies. Now, at this only known memorial that Davidian members and friends put together themselves, here out at the Mount Carmel site, we see a number of people whose nations of origin are England, Israel, several from England, some 22, 24 from England, a couple from Canada, one from New Zealand, and the majority, to be sure, from the United States. And of those from the United States, we have things, very humbling things, such as Paige's Jen, age 1, April 19th, 1993, that fateful day when the 51-day standoff ended in such tragedy. We have someone with the same last name, aborted fetus Gent, April 19th, 1993, USA. And a number of other names. One from Australia, age 3, we can see down there. And these are the innocents lost. And innocence was lost in a way as Waco became a watershed event in the abuse of federal power, the sheer armed, brutal abuse of federal power. Whatever the Davidians believed, whatever David Koresh stood for, whoever he was, whatever they saw themselves as, they did not deserve this kind of fate. And the middle stone in this monument notes that in this account, 82 people perished during the siege, 18 were children, 10 years old or younger. And David Koresh's name is found here amongst the regular names and not in any leadership or dominant position, interestingly enough. Now, it's worth recalling that a philosopher, Thomas Hobbes, wrote of the Leviathan state. He died in the 1670s, and he basically said, and the Feds seem to have borrowed a page from him, he basically said that man needs a strong central government that instills constant fear to keep men in line so they're not pitted against each other. Of course, this is a very faulty theory. Big government, allied as it is with big corporations and big banks, actually brings about the kind of dislocations and hardships and crime that does pit man against man. And so Hobbes' theory really falls on its face. It holds no water whatsoever. But as I noted, the Feds seemed to borrow a page from it when this widely publicized siege was seared into our memories and really wounded the American body politic badly. And that instilled that basic sense of fear of the central federal power that is said by Hobbes to be indispensable, to be needed for keeping us all in line. Well, that was punctuated and accentuated during that attack very clearly. So, borrowing a page from Hobbes, did the Feds borrow a page from him? You be the judge, but it follows that basic philosophical template, warped though it may be. Now, I'm panning around here. My assistant Angie's going to show a little bit more as I wrap up here of this monument, and I'll just narrate off camera as she pans around slowly to show what it looks like. And at the end, as I sign off, you've been listening to American Free Press, she'll show the chapel built at the former Mount Carmel site, the only structure that remains here that was built here since the siege, as I understand it. And it's a small white chapel where occasional services are held. Reporting for AFP, I'm Mark Anderson.